questions. I'm going to answer a question. One second. I'm going to do one statement, then one question. Last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to begin with a question, is we want to make a very clear demand right now, which is that the full transcript, unedited, of the Secretary's questions and the answers need to be released by the majority in the next 24 hours. We need the public and the American people have a right to know exactly what she said, what questions were asked of her, and how she responded. That's transparency. She herself requested that the press and the public be allowed into the deposition. That was denied. And so at a very minimum, they need to immediately release the full transcript, and we're hopeful that tomorrow, for the former president, that the press would be allowed in and the public as well. That's been the request.
Thank you, Mr. Ranking Member. How did that leaked photo get out, and do you believe there should be any repercussions?
Well, the repercussions should come from the majority and from Chairman Comer. I mean, it was very clear that leaked photo was sent out by a member. I think it's not hard to figure out what member that was by looking at the photo. And the fact it was not just one photo, it was one photo and then a second post that also included a photo as well. And so that was completely against the rules. I think we're grateful that the Secretary continued the deposition, but not acceptable.
The Secretary's been clear that she has no relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. She's never met Jeffrey Epstein. She said a few times that she has had encounters with Ghislaine Maxwell. She's clarified what those meetings were like. Did she talk about Ghislaine Maxwell attending her daughter's wedding? Did you get any new insight into those interactions?
I think, obviously, we can't get into specifics about the answers, but we will get all those as soon as the video is released. And so we have to be very careful about giving specifics about what was actually said in the deposition per committee rules, so which is why we're demanding right now that James Comer and the Republicans release the full transcript where all the questions that were asked will be fully answered by Secretary Clinton. What I can say is that she, again, never met Jeffrey Epstein, never went to the island, never went to the plane, and had no knowledge of any of his crimes. This is completely unacceptable.
When it comes to Howard Lutnick, when Comer went in, he said it's a possibility. When I asked him if Lutnick would be subpoenaed, Mace then said she had an email printed out that she wanted to ask Clinton about. What was that line of questioning like in the room, and was there any discussion about moving forward on a request or a subpoena for Lutnick?
We've made the request of Howard Lutnick. It is unacceptable that we have the Commerce Secretary who has lied and lied and lied about his relationships with Jeffrey Epstein, the fact that he went to the island, he went on the plane, he went into business with Jeffrey Epstein, and yet sat there in a chair with a reporter and lied to the American people. He should resign today. He should be removed from office, and at minimum should come before the committee. I think everyone's been clear that we need to hear from Howard Lutnick.
Can you give us what was that in the room, the questioning in the room?
I'm not. I want all of the Secretary's responses to be released immediately, or I want the press to be allowed in to get details on that.
Can you give us a sense of what it was like in the room? Is this a very tense deposition? And also, can you give a little bit more color of what exactly happened when this moment on social media is shared? Was there back and forth about letting the press inside the room?
So, yeah, what I can say is obviously everybody was very taken aback by the committee rules being essentially not enforced and certainly just broken immediately. That is not acceptable, especially when the Secretary said from day one that she wanted the press in the room. When the incident happened, I think this is something that can be reported, the Secretary's team continued to demand, even after the incident, to let the press into the room, because what was important for her is that her answers to the questions not be edited, that the video not be edited. And so we understand that, and we're committed to getting this video transcript out immediately.
To be clear, she is answering every question.
To be clear, she's answering all the questions.
Taking the fifth at all?
To be clear, she's answering all the questions. I think I can safely say that she's not taking the fifth.
Mr. Garcia.
Last question.
In terms of her understanding of her husband's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, is that something that she's been asked about?
I want the full transcripts to be released immediately, and I think everything that she said in her testimony will be cleared. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
All right, we were listening to some of the Democrats there on the House Oversight Committee and the ranking Democrat there talking about, and this is midway through the deposition, right? So they're
going back in the room.
They're going back in the room, but they say that the former Secretary of State is completely cooperating, answering questions in full faith and in good faith. And as they're asked about specifics of what she's saying, they say they want the full transcript out so that it can sort of speak for itself. And they're demanding that the president be deposed in light of this reporting, which I'm just going to run through real quick because this is very important that people understand what is out there, what appears to be missing from what is public in the Epstein files. There are dozens of FBI witness interviews from the investigation of Jeffrey Epstein that appear to be missing from the files that DOJ released last month, according to a CNN review. CNN has gone through this, and more than 90 of the 325 FBI witness interview records that were listed in an evidence log that was provided to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney don't appear to be on the website. And this includes 3 interviews related to a woman who told the FBI that Epstein had repeatedly abused her starting when she was approximately 13, and who also accused Trump of sexually assaulting her. So you see them, they're coming out and they're trying to kind of turn this around.
It's not insignificant information, right?
Not at all.
And it was interesting to hear Representative Garcia there say, in his words, that we've now set a new precedent about testimony from former presidents and saying, he repeating again a demand that Democrats have made is that they invite President Trump to testify, given the references to him in the documents. Our MJ Lee is in Chappaqua. She's been following this. And MJ, I understand you just spoke to Representative Lauren Boebert, who we believe was the source of that photo shared from inside the room.
Yeah, Jim, we are some 3.5 hours into this deposition, and I think we're seeing the full partisan nature of this on full display already. Congresswoman Boebert, who appeared to have taken photos from inside that deposition room, which is supposed to be against the rules for the deposition, came out, and a number of reporters, including myself, we were asking her whether she was reprimanded at all for taking those photos and sharing them. And she said that she wasn't reprimanded at all. And she, in fact, said, why not take photos from inside the room? And when I asked her, or tried to ask her something of substance, I said, what from the deposition so far of Hillary Clinton has stood out to you? She simply responded, I admired her blue suit. Again, this is the divide, the clear divide that we are seeing between how Republicans are handling this line of questioning versus the Democrats. I think the Democratic press conference that we just watched there was pretty clear in the messaging that they're trying to get out, which is that we have the wrong person sitting down for a deposition today. Hillary Clinton, as she has repeatedly said, according to these Democratic lawmakers, doesn't know anything, doesn't have any information to share that would be helpful as far as Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell's actions go. In fact, some of these members were saying they are appalled by how unserious the Republicans have been in handling this investigation. And also just one note of color from our previous reporting in terms of some of the kinds of questions that the former secretary has been getting. I was told that at one point, Republican Congresswoman Mace asked Hillary Clinton a number of questions related to former President Bill Clinton, her husband, and his actions. And at one point was asked, do you have feelings about young women massaging her husband? The former Secretary of State responded by saying, I'm not going to speculate for something that I wasn't present for, and I'm certainly not here to talk about my feelings. So that example in and of itself, just goes to show you, obviously, this is not a pleasant experience for Hillary Clinton. It certainly is not expected to be that way for Bill Clinton either. And it is why I think the Clinton team and their lawyers spent so many months trying to avoid exactly this scenario behind me. They didn't want to be asked these kinds of questions, particularly in this setting. But now that they're doing it, they're trying to use it to their advantage, that it is closed press, that there are a number of reporters here, lots of cameras, lots of media presence. They're not allowed in the room. And they're saying, well, if you want to be transparent, let the media in.
Interesting answer about the blue suit when there's more to talk about. Maybe more to talk about.
Her fashion, yes.
Yeah, well, maybe not today. We'll see, I guess, when we see the transcript. Certainly maybe more tomorrow. We'll see with the Bill Clinton deposition. MJ, thank you so much for the reporting.